Choosing a web host or web server provider can be a confusing task, and oftentimes I see that many people don't know where to go or what to choose. I'm going to show you a few of the options I've chosen in the past and discuss a little bit about those services. Currently, I host with lunarpages.com and justhost.com. So let me show you LunarPages first. The first thing you want to do is check on what kind of solution do you want. Under Hosting Solutions, we can go to Business Web Hosting or Basic Web Hosting. I'd say right now start off with Basic Web Hosting. So here we can learn more about the basic web hosting service they have. Under the pricing, you can see it's $4.95 a month. Typically, you can get a better deal if you'll sign on for a year or 2 years, or even sometimes they'll let you sign on for more than 2 years. We'll get what's called cPanel access with most solutions. If a site doesn't offer cPanel, they'll offer another solution that's similar. We'll go into what cPanel is and how to use it at a later time. When buying a host, you're going to be given a lot of options on things to add on. Again, for instance, on this one, cPanel is an option. Shell access, you don't really need at this time, but it gives you some more abilities on the server. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but to be honest, most of you will only need the basic access. You're not really going to need a dedicated IP address at this time or SSL certificates, and these are all things you can add on later. One of the things I really like about LunarPages for my shared hosting, or my basic web hosting, is its security level. It seems like they have a lot better security level than some of the other services that I've used. But they are going to be a little bit higher than some of the other services, but when you're talking about $4.95 a month, it's really not that bad. If you're a subscriber to lifehacker.com, they promote a service called Dreamhost. You'll see here you'll get your Dreamhost for $20 for the first year of your service. I'm not a big fan of the way that Dreamhost arranges their server, but $20 for a year is not really a bad deal at all for hosting a server. JustHost is a great option. You'll see it's about half price from LunarPages. And even though JustHost has been a great provider for me, I do prefer their dedicated services more than their shared hosting services. They don't have the security level that LunarPages has, but if you're not running scripts like WordPress or Joomla, then you may not have a problem with this particular service. HostGator is about mid-range between the two in price. I prefer the other two above HostGator, but it's still a great service, just giving you more options here to look at. And finally, I'll show you AvaHost. It's about the same price as JustHost, and I've actually never used AvaHost, but I know lots of people that have, and it works great. You'll notice that here it says free domain name. Most of these services will offer you a free domain name if you sign up with them, and that's a free renewable every year. It's not a really great savings because you're really only paying $8 a year for a domain name anyway. I typically recommend going to GoDaddy.com and hosting all your domain names under one place in GoDaddy. You can buy these domain names through these web server providers, but I don't ever do that because if you ever leave the provider, you have to transfer the domain name, and really it's just much easier to keep them right here in one place. So I recommend going to GoDaddy, type in the domain name you want, and just go through and add it to cart. GoDaddy does add a lot of add-ons. Just skip through most of this stuff. Privatizing your domain, things like that. You can privatize it, but that's just going to make it so people can't see who owns it. There's a lot of other things they're going to try to sell you. I just skip through most of it and just buy the domain name as you see it. You'll notice right now that this domain name was $14.99. It's on sale for $2.99. That's because GoDaddy's running a sale, so obviously we get great prices on a domain name there. That's a year. So if they're not running a sale, a lot of times you can go to retailmenot.com and you can type in GoDaddy.com. And these will give you coupon codes for domain names. So why pay full price if you don't have to? Earlier, I mentioned dedicated versus shared hosting. You notice this $2.95 per month, this is the shared hosting amount. What that means is that they basically are lending you a server that you're sharing with a whole bunch of other people. This typically works great for most websites if you don't have just a ton of traffic. Obviously, if you're Facebook.com, you don't want shared hosting. If you feel you're going to have a more robust site or a site that needs more dedicated traffic, you can get a virtual private host or dedicated host. All the services that I showed earlier have this same type of option for VPS hosting or dedicated hosting. You'll see here we have several different prices and the type of server you're getting. These are dedicated servers for your account, so nobody else will be running off of this server but you. This also gives you a lot more control over what you can do on the server. So really, it's up to you on whether you want to get a dedicated host or a shared host. I recommend starting off with a shared host.